Welcome! Today, we're diving into the world of FOIA requests. FOIA stands for the Freedom of Information Act, a powerful tool that allows the public to access records from government agencies. Whether you're a journalist, researcher, or just a curious citizen, understanding FOIA can help you uncover important information. In this video, we'll break down what a FOIA request is, how it works at the federal and state levels, and why knowing the differences matters. Let's start by exploring the basics of FOIA and why it exists in the first place. The Freedom of Information Act, or FOIA, was enacted in 1966. Its main purpose is to ensure transparency by giving the public the right to request access to records from federal agencies. This means that, in most cases, you can ask for documents, emails, reports, and more from government offices. However, there are some exceptions, like national security or personal privacy concerns. Understanding these basics is the first step to making an effective FOIA request. FOIA is a cornerstone of open government. It empowers citizens to hold agencies accountable, uncover waste or misconduct, and promote informed public debate. Journalists often use FOIA to investigate stories, while advocacy groups rely on it to monitor government actions. Without FOIA, much of what happens inside government agencies would remain hidden from the public eye. That's why understanding how to use FOIA is so important. One of the great things about FOIA is that anyone can file a request. You don't need to be a US citizen or even live in the United States. Individuals, organizations, businesses, and media outlets all have the right to submit FOIA requests. This broad access ensures that government transparency isn't limited to a select few, but is available to everyone. FOIA allows you to request a wide range of records from federal agencies. This includes emails, reports, memos, contracts, and more. However, not everything is available. Some records are protected by exemptions, such as those involving national security, law enforcement, or personal privacy. It's important to be specific in your request to increase your chances of getting the information you need. At the federal level, FOIA applies to executive branch agencies, like the Department of Justice or the Environmental Protection Agency. It does not apply to Congress, the courts, or state and local governments. Each federal agency has its own FOIA office and procedures, but all must follow the same basic rules set by the federal FOIA law. To file a federal FOIA request, you typically submit a written request to the agency's FOIA office. You'll need to describe the records you're seeking as clearly as possible. The agency then has a set amount of time, usually 20 business days, to respond. They may provide the records, deny the request, or ask for clarification. If denied, you have the right to appeal. There are 9 exemptions under the federal FOIA law. These cover things like classified national defense information, internal agency rules, trade secrets, law enforcement records, and personal privacy. Agencies can withhold records if they fall under these exemptions. Understanding these limits can help you craft better requests and avoid unnecessary denials. Federal agencies may charge fees for processing FOIA requests. These can include search, duplication, and review costs. However, fees are often waived for requests that serve the public interest, such as those from journalists or nonprofit organizations. It's a good idea to ask for a fee waiver if your request is for educational or public benefit purposes. While FOIA is a federal law, every state has its own version of open records laws. These are sometimes called sunshine laws or public records acts. State laws govern access to records from state and local agencies, such as police departments, school boards, and city councils. The rules and procedures can vary widely from state to state. The biggest difference between federal and state FOIA laws is the scope. Federal FOIA only applies to federal agencies, while state laws cover state and local government bodies. Each state sets its own rules for what records are available, how to request them, and what exemptions apply. This means the process and your rights can look very different depending on where you live. To file a state FOIA request, you'll need to follow your state's specific procedures. Some states require written requests, while others allow online submissions. The response time, fees, and appeal process can also differ. It's important to check your state's Open Records website for detailed instructions before submitting your request. Just like the federal law, state FOIA laws include exemptions. These might cover things like ongoing investigations, student records, or trade secrets. However, the specific exemptions and how they're applied can be quite different from state to state. Always review your state's list of exemptions before making a request. States may also charge fees for processing FOIA requests. These fees can include copying, searching, and sometimes even staff time. Some states offer fee waivers for requests that benefit the public or for certain types of requesters. Always ask about fees and waivers when submitting your request to avoid surprises. Let's look at a simple example. Suppose you want to know how much your city spent on a recent construction project. You would submit a FOIA request to your city's records office, specifying the project and the time frame. The office would then search for relevant documents and respond according to your state's laws. A well-written FOIA request is clear and specific. Start by identifying the agency and the records you want. Include details like dates, subjects, or keywords to help the agency locate the documents. Be polite and concise, and always include your contact information. This increases your chances of a quick and accurate response. Here's a sample FOIA request letter. To whom it may concern, I am requesting copies of all contracts related to the Main Street Bridge project from January 2020 to December 2021. Please let me know if fees apply or if you need clarification. Thank you. This format is straightforward and covers all the basics. Once your request is written, submit it according to the agency's instructions. This might be by email, mail, or an online portal. Keep a copy of your request and note the date you sent it. This will help you track the agency's response time and follow up if needed. Agencies are required to respond to FOIA requests within a certain time frame. For federal agencies, it's usually 20 business days. State timelines can vary, ranging from a few days to several weeks. If the agency needs more time, they should notify you and explain the delay. When you submit a FOIA request, the agency can respond in several ways. They might provide the records in full, release some information with redactions, deny the request, or ask for clarification. If your request is denied, you have the right to appeal or seek a review. Sometimes agencies will release documents but redact or black out certain information. This usually happens when parts of the record fall under an exemption, such as personal privacy or national security. Redactions are marked clearly, so you know what's been withheld and why. If your FOIA request is denied, don't give up. Both federal and state laws provide a process for appealing denials. You'll need to submit a written appeal explaining why you believe the record should be released. If the appeal is unsuccessful, you may have the option to take the matter to court. There are a few common mistakes people make with FOIA requests. These include being too vague, requesting records that don't exist, or not following the agency's submission rules. To avoid delays or denials, always be as specific as possible and check the agency's guidelines before submitting your request. FOIA balances the public's right to know with individual privacy. Personal information, such as social security numbers or medical records, is typically exempt from disclosure. Agencies must carefully review records to protect privacy while still providing as much information as possible. National security is one of the most important FOIA exemptions. Records that could harm the country's safety or reveal sensitive operations are not released. This ensures that transparency doesn't come at the expense of public safety or national interests. Law enforcement records are another area with special FOIA considerations. Agencies can withhold records if releasing them would interfere with investigations, reveal confidential sources, or endanger individuals. These exemptions help protect the integrity of law enforcement work. Trade secrets and confidential business information are also protected under FOIA. If a record contains sensitive commercial data, agencies may redact or withhold it to prevent competitive harm. This ensures that transparency doesn't come at the cost of business interests. Some records are withheld because they relate to internal agency rules and practices. These might include internal memos, staff guidelines, or administrative procedures. The goal is to protect the agency's ability to function effectively without outside interference. Pre-decisional documents, such as drafts or recommendations, are often exempt from disclosure. This allows agencies to discuss and develop policies without outside pressure. Once a decision is made, the final documents may become available through FOIA. Financial records, such as budgets or contracts, are often requested under FOIA. While many of these are public, some details may be redacted to protect sensitive information. Always specify the type of financial record you need to improve your chances of success. FOIA is a valuable tool for accessing historical government records. Researchers and historians often use FOIA to uncover documents from decades past. While some older records may be archived or digitized, others might require special handling or take longer to retrieve. In today's digital age, many FOIA requests involve electronic records, such as emails or databases. Agencies are required to search electronic files just like paper records. Be sure to specify the format you prefer, such as PDF or Excel, when making your request. Requests that serve the public interest, such as those exposing government wrongdoing or improving public understanding, are often prioritized. Agencies may waive fees for these requests, and courts may be more likely to order disclosure if the public benefit is clear. Journalists frequently use FOIA to investigate government actions and inform the public. Media requests are often processed quickly, and fees may be reduced or waived. If you're a journalist, mention your media affiliation and the purpose of your request to help expedite the process. Nonprofit organizations also rely on FOIA to monitor government programs and advocate for change. Many agencies recognize the public benefit of nonprofit requests and may waive fees. If you represent a nonprofit, be sure to explain your mission and how the requested records will be used. Businesses sometimes use FOIA to gather information about competitors, government contracts, or regulatory actions. While this is allowed, agencies may be cautious about releasing sensitive commercial data. Always clarify the purpose of your request and be aware of trade secret exemptions. Academics and students often use FOIA to support research projects or theses. Agencies may provide records at reduced cost for educational purposes. When making a request, mention your academic affiliation and explain how the records will contribute to your research. FOIA records can be used in legal proceedings, such as lawsuits or administrative hearings. However, some records may be withheld if they relate to ongoing litigation. If you need records for a legal case, be sure to specify this in your request and consult with an attorney if needed. You don't have to be a U.S. citizen to file a FOIA request. People and organizations from other countries can also request records from U.S. federal agencies. However, some state laws may have residency requirements. So check the rules before submitting a state-level request. Many agencies now accept FOIA requests through online portals. These systems make it easier to submit, track, and receive responses electronically. Always check if the agency you're contacting has an online system, as this can speed up the process and keep your request organized. When making a FOIA request, you can often specify the format you'd like to receive records in, such as paper copies, PDFs, or spreadsheets. Agencies will try to accommodate your preference if possible. This is especially helpful for large datasets or electronic records. Sometimes, agencies may take longer than expected to respond to FOIA requests. This can happen due to high volume, complex searches, or limited staff. If your request is delayed, follow up politely and ask for an estimated completion date. Persistence often pays off. Not all records are kept forever. Agencies follow record retention schedules, which determine how long documents are stored before being destroyed. If you request a record that's been deleted, the agency will let you know. It's always best to request records as soon as possible. FOIA is a vital part of government transparency. It gives everyone the power to see how decisions are made and how public money is spent. By using FOIA, you help promote accountability and strengthen democracy. Remember, open records are your right. To wrap up, FOIA requests are a powerful way to access government records at both the federal and state levels. While the basic idea is the same, the rules and procedures can differ significantly. Always be specific. Follow the agency's guidelines, and don't hesitate to appeal if your request is denied. With these tips, you'll be well equipped to use FOIA to uncover the information you need.